Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for another daily dose of Dismal Disney. Yet another one.
Yes, we have another one that was like over an hour. Sorry.
Oh my God. Yeah, so this is going to go up after that, I think. This is Comcast and Disney moving up the deadline to decide the future of Hulu. They're moving it up to September 30th, which would mean that they probably would have news to give investors during their end of year, fiscal report, right? Like how much it's going to cost them. And the thing is,
So this is to decide how much it's going to be.
It's going to be a lot
to lead into the payment.
Right.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be a lot. I think if you read between the lines, they've got the CEO, Brian Roberts of Comcast, and he's basically saying that, yeah, it's going to cost Disney a lot more than what we originally thought it was going to cost, because we were just kind of guessing 5 years ago at that $27.5 billion
That's just the
price
floor.
tag.
That just meant you can't go any lower than that.
Right. And we're going to talk about this because Disney might be on the hook for a lot of money, and Comcast is going to laugh and laugh and laugh because they already stuck Disney with the $70 billion Fox deal by
They
driving
stuck
the business.
themselves with that.
They did. They didn't have to take it, but they thought
They kept running it up too. They kept took the bait.
They took the bait, and I don't think Disney can afford the kind of money that Comcast is going to ask them for, but I don't think they're going to have a choice. I think they're going to have to pay whatever they got to pay, whatever fair market value is. So we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. If you do, you'll get a woohoo.
Woohoo!
Go out to piratesandprincesses.net for more objective Disney news. This is coming from CNBC again, because they tend to cover all the dismal Disney news.
Well, just Disney in general, yeah.
Just Disney in general, and it's all dismal now, right? They said they're going to begin discussions, Comcast and Disney, on September 30th, months before the original January 2024 deadline. And the talks are going to include an appraisal process.
Right, because I'm sure Disney's saying it's worth a lot less than it is.
Right. And I'm sure they are, because they're going to try to get off as cheap as they can. So the original agreement with Comcast when Disney got Fox was, and they wound up getting another third of Hulu,
Right.
was that they had to buy the remaining stake, right, if they wanted to keep Hulu. Well, Comcast is going to hold them to that. The original appraisal value or estimated floor was $27.5 billion back then.
In 2019, yes.
In 2019.
Now, that does not mean that Disney has to pay $27.5 billion to Comcast by this number. They might anyway, but not by this number. They'd have to pay a third of that number to Comcast. But if the valuation is a lot higher than that, they're going to have to pay a third whatever the valuation is.
Yeah. So here's where it gets really tricky, because Comcast is going to try to sell off that remaining share for as much as they can. And the CEO of Comcast is giddy. He is giddy. He's like, we're excited to get this resolved, he said. And
We're excited to get that money.
We're excited to get that money and stick it to Disney, because Disney's broke right now, guys. I hate to break it to you. Disney is broke. And if they have to cough up another $30 to $50 billion, and we're going to talk about how they might be on the hook for that much, that's going to cripple them. Absolutely. They said that the minimum $27.5 billion that people bandied about, this is the CEO, that was a hypothetical that we picked 5 years ago because Disney had control of the company. The company is way more valuable today than it was then. Roberts called out Hulu as a great streaming business, second only to Netflix, which he noted has a market cap of $200 billion.
Nice.
So even if they have and we'll talk about the appraisal process. So even if they have appraisers come in and say, you know what, we'll do half of Netflix. We think it's worth $100 billion, right? This is what like an Apple or something would pay for Hulu. That means that Disney would be on the hook for like $33 billion when they thought they were going to be on the hook for like $8 to $10 billion at the most.
Right. And so what they're doing is Disney's going to have an appraisal done. Comcast is going to have an appraisal done. And if they come up far apart, which they're going to,
yes,
then there'll be a third party appraiser that comes in that I'm sure they'll probably try to give money to both sides to win over. And that person will, they'll probably pick like some average of all of them or something.
Yeah. It's like buying a house. Basically, if the appraisals are pretty far apart, then you get another party to come in to try to do like a tiebreaker, right? So yeah, it could be that like, theirs comes and says, well, it's worth 150 and Disney says, nah, it's only worth like 30. And then they're gonna have to try to figure it out. And if they're way far apart, it's gonna be really interesting.
Well, it's interesting because they're trying to get like this hammered down to like an amount and like an agreement by the end of the fiscal year, because the 30th is the last day of Disney's fiscal quarter and year. So they're gonna start off the next year with that they're gonna have to pay for that.
Yeah, so that's what I think they're doing. I think the reason they're trying to hammer this deal out now is so Disney can brace their shareholders, prepare them for the debt that they're about to take on, the additional debt that they're about to hit. Like, hey guys, we know our stock is at a 10-year low, and we know that we haven't had any major hits at the box office in a long time. But hey, good news. We got a real good deal on the rest of Hulu, so we're gonna have to pay another $30-40 billion. Okay, moving on.
Well, they're not wrong about the fact that if they would put it on the market like right now, and somebody else is going to buy it, like say whoever owned all of it, it would be probably worth a lot more than what Disney's claiming.
Yeah.
So they're saying though that one of the things that makes Hulu big is because they're sold in a bundle with Disney Plus and ESPN Plus. So my next comment to that is going to be: is Disney going to be, well, you can't quantify that, or you can't combine those with it for the value because that you're using our stuff to leverage with Hulu. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's going to make it harder to determine. And then they said though that the synergy and churn could be worth $30 billion alone. Meaning that people are more likely to stay with the services and then cancel their subscription. Much what churn is. You watch what you want, and you cancel and leave. That's churn.
Now the interesting thing about this though is that he actually said that there would be people lining up to buy a complete Hulu. So I agree. So could theoretically Disney look at this and be like, okay, this is going to cost us a fortune, but we're gonna buy the rest of Hulu. And then we're going to flip it and we're going to sell Hulu to somebody else.
Yeah, but again, though, Disney, well, they can bring everything to Disney Plus.
They're already kind of working on it.
They are doing it, I guess. But I'm just like, but they're also going to, unless they take stuff off Hulu with it and then sell Hulu as the brand, but it's not going to be worth as much. I mean, part of the value, according to Comcast, is the fact that it's with those other networks bundled to lower the churn, which is worth probably he said $30 billion, just that. If you sell it separately, you're losing that. You know what I mean? So would they make money doing that?
I don't know. I mean, they're going to get stuck paying a huge tab. And the thing is Comcast, they did it before. They ran them up. They made them pay, way too much for well, Iger willingly did it, but they were going to pay half of that, and then Comcast we're interested.
But they might have been too, just to try to get Hulu and other stuff, and some things they wanted. So, and I don't know.
And that debt is biting them in the ass right now.
It is.
And then look at Comcast, and they didn't have the revenue hit. They didn't take the revenue hit that Disney did during the pandemic because people needed the internet, right? And they needed cable. They needed something to watch on TV. So they're over there like, yeah, we're going to build a whole new theme park. And we got Mario coming, and our movies are kicking your movies' asses. And our theme parks are starting to kick your theme parks' asses. And you guys don't have 2 pennies to rub together.
But to my point, though, about Disney, they're saying here, they said that, originally Iger said that everything was on the table regarding Hulu. But then they changed it out his tune after, saying that the content from Hulu is going to be added to Disney Plus. And they're doing that Disney Plus and Hulu app they're doing. So I don't think Disney necessarily wants to sell Hulu to somebody else. I mean, if they had a complete Hulu to sell to somebody else, it would go for a lot of money, and they have to look at what it would sell for, in the market overall. But they don't think they have plans. I think they're trying to keep it together, which is why they're bundling, and I think they're hoping the bundling is going to bring them more advertising dollars and a more customer perceived value, that they're going to have more subscribers.
It's good to want.
I know, but I'm saying I think that's what they're thinking.
When you wish upon a star.
I think they're hoping people see it as perceived value, and they're more likely to subscribe to Disney, and then they'll raise their Disney Plus numbers using Hulu.
I don't,
as well as taking all the advertising dollars and being paid twice.
The problem is that Hulu now is basically just Disney content with a couple other channels on it, because they even talk about how NBC pulled a lot of their stuff off of Hulu. A lot of stuff that people watched on Hulu. They pulled it off.
Well, the live TV, Disney is playing. I think it's funny because they're going after, but you owe us because fair market value of Disney to, Spectrum.
Yeah.
But they themselves are going to have agreements with these networks too, because they're carrying it on their live TV. Now, you know what I mean? They themselves have to pay those deals. Do they try to argue the same thing? Well, the value of Disney means we should have to pay less. You know?
Yeah. I mean, this is just like, there's no way to win that either, because if you try to drive the price down, then you're basically saying, well, it's not really worth, your company that you've been in control of isn't really worth that much.
Oh, here. The move to add Hulu content to Disney Plus came as Disney focused on its ad-supported Disney Plus option to attract more subscribers and advertising revenue. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a good plan on paper, I guess, except that people are ditching because they keep jacking the price up.
They do, and they're jacking it up again next month. But I'm saying they're also trying to get people. The reason they're raising prices on a lot of the stuff was the ad free stuff. The ad supported isn't going up that much. Some of it's even staying the same or seems like a better deal. But they're doing it because if they sell ad supported tiers, they get the subscription money, and then they get a whole lot more money from advertisers too. And they can level themselves like a linear network and get all that money from advertising. And they come ahead and make way more money that way than people paying for ad free. So they're going to try to drive the price ad free to get you to all switch to the ad supported because they make more money that way. But it also drives subscribers to have Hulu in a bundle. So people think they're getting a value. I pay $10 a month. I get Hulu Disney Plus with ads, and that's a deal. To them, but Disney's just making a lot more money. So I don't think Disney's going to want to sell Hulu. But I think they're saying is if Hulu was for sale, hypothetically, as a complete service, how much is that worth? And I think Disney's going to argue, well, some of the value is because of our combos,
stuff,
and they're going to argue that it's worth less because Comcast's argument is worth more because of the combos, but Disney's going to argue it's worth less because they own Disney Plus and ESPN. So I think the truth lies in the middle, but I think it's higher than $27.5 billion.
Yeah, and again, this is another bill that Disney does not have the money to pay right now. They really do not have
the money for this.
I mean, they're losing subscribers. They're losing people in the theme parks. Their movies are striking out. They do not have the money to get stuck with another $10+ billion on the low end. It could be 30, 40, 50 billion dollars that they get stuck with paying for. Mm-hmm. Where are they going to get that money from? Bob, where are you going to get that from, Bob? You know? On top of the $70 billion you flushed down the toilet with Fox.
The savings they made by laying everybody off and restructuring and everything else was only like a few billion, 5.5 billion. It wasn't even enough to pay for the floor, the valuation floor on this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the plan is.
And their stock just keeps going down. I mean, I think when this comes out, like what the deal was, and if it's going to be a lot more than $27.5 billion valuation, it's going to go worse. It's down in the $80 range again today. Yeah,
that's what I'm telling you. I think the reason they're doing it, they're trying to wrap it up or at least get a price before the end of the year is so they can brace their investors.
Well, they're going to lose money again. Their stock's going to go down. If it's higher than that valuation, which is probably going to be, and they're going to have to pay a lot more money than they expected. People are going to be like, where are you going to get it from? I mean, and I think their stock's going to drop
Apple,
more.
You're looking pretty shiny right now.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
I don't know. It's not looking good. I think it's going to wind up being at least $20 billion. I
gotta tell you, since we've been doing the dismal Disney, or just in general, we've been doing Disney coverage for, oh my gosh, guys, years and years. But even before we did this blog or podcast, where we had podcasts, we had other blogs we worked on and developed, and there's a long story there. We've been covering Disney, and even before we started doing that, we were doing stuff with Disney prior. Yeah, with comics and things. We've been doing Disney for years. And I honestly can say I never thought it would get to the point where it's at now. I never thought that the stock would go down this low. I never thought we'd be in a situation where like, oh, how's Disney going to pay for it? Not since the 80s. I mean, or 90s and stuff. I did not think that it was going to go this bad. In
such a short amount of time.
Yeah,
too.
fast.
I mean, because it was all smoke and mirrors.
And apparently bullshit games behind the scenes, which also further tanked it quicker.
I mean, you can make $500,000 a year and you can still go broke if you max out your credit cards and make a lot of, you know what I'm saying? And that's what's going on here. These guys, they're making lots of money, but they went on a spending spree and they're stupid with it. And then they turn around and the customers they pissed them off with a lot of stupid decisions.
Right, and it doesn't help. They have right here, the Dow tumbles 200 points because the Fed rate, that's not helping either.
No.
It's not helping stocks in general.
We're in a recession. $85 a month for Hulu, and it's mostly Disney content and a couple other.
A share of Disney is cheaper than a month of Hulu
That's pretty sad.
with live TV.
Yeah, that's that. You put it in that perspective, it's pretty sad. So we're gonna wrap this up.
Yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support and get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.